up, guys? Resident DGen here. Want to commit crime?
Get it? Cause hit and run. Hit and run. You know, like the crime. Wait, what'd you think I meant?
Developed by Radical Entertainment, The Simpsons Hit and Run is an action-adventure RPG with a significant focus on arcade-style racing that started as a direct sequel to Road Rage, a game we'll cover, but grew its own identity as the team at Radical expanded on the initial concept. Huge thank you to the channel MinnMax for their interview with the developers of Hit and Run. The insight, what are you doing? Are you coming to say hello? The insight made available exclusively through that video fueled information within my own video, so I would heavily encourage you to give them some support, especially if you're interested in game history or game development as a whole. Links in the description. With Road Rage behind them and the idea of a sequel ahead, Hit and Run was expected to improve upon the Road Rage formula while ideally remaining true to its predecessor. With the best intentions at heart, Radical Entertainment began drafting up a game that would be exactly that, but couldn't scratch a particular itch no matter how hard they tried. The desire to simply get out of the car. Road Rage gave fans of the show the opportunity to experience Springfield firsthand, but didn't allow for them to interact with any significant landmarks in any way whatsoever. Initially, Fox wasn't very supportive of drifting away from the Road Rage formula, choosing instead to support a quick pump and dump sequel for a faster turnaround, but the developers were determined. Radical decided to work the ability to get out of the car into their first prototype of the game with the hope that it would be just good enough to convince whoever it needed to convince that this was the path the game should take. It may have helped that one of the first people to test the game was none other than series creator Matt Guy himself. When he arrived, the team handed him a controller and simply said, "We added the ability to get out of the car. Oh, and you can kick stuff too." The first thing Matt did was kick that Marge down the street. Now with Matt's full support of the project, Radical knew one thing: they had to deliver. And did they do so? You've probably played the game, so you already know. If that's the case, why are you here? Shh. Oh shit, it's over. Never mind. The Simpsons Hit and Run is an experience like no other game I've played. Seriously. While you can argue that it's largely thanks to the franchise behind it, you can't deny the level of charm and unique quirk present in the game. The characters in the game are voiced by their original actors. It has that big game feel without the need for big game hours played. And the driving system is really fun to play, especially once you get used to it and start to master it. Hit and Run is broken up over 8 levels, each with their own plot and focus of setting and characters, including a large amount of significant landmarks and memorable characters from the show. While the game is incredibly linear, the ability to step out of the car and explore Springfield keeps the game from ever feeling like its borders are limiting your experience. Of course, there are some side missions and collectibles that are much easier to do and obtain with specific vehicles and characters, which you will unlock in time. You never feel like you're boxed in like you do in Chapter 13 of Final Fantasy 15.
This is fun. This is fun. I'm having fun. This is fun. Fun is being had. So much fun is being had.
When it comes to the voice acting, it's one thing I applaud Gracie Films and the Simpsons franchise for. The original actors always represent their fictional counterpart as far as I can tell.
1 box of your finest quality Chinese frog launchers, please.
Here you go, 2 kilos of Chinese sky candy. They'll blow you away.
Whether it's Hank Azaria or Yeardley Smith, The Simpsons will always sound like The Simpsons, and that's largely in thanks to this consistency. But that's not to say that it was an easy task. Of course, when you start working with Hollywood actors, you start having to work around Hollywood schedules, and that was something that troubled Radical quite a bit. The team had incredibly limited time with the actors as the game was being developed around the peak of the franchise popularity, so they were recording voice lines for the show quite regularly, which forced a lot lot of actors to record their lines in as little as one session to free them up as soon as possible. And that was an insanely daunting task, especially for Hank and co-star Dan Castellaneta, both whom voice several dialogue-heavy characters in the game. The devs recalled the two having significant difficulty later in the day, especially Dan, who had to forfeit several lines of dialogue due to just vocal fatigue. This means that some lines that were meant for Homer may have been passed off to someone like Bart, or Lisa, or Marge instead. Their effort was far from in vain because it dramatically improves the overall experience of the game. You really do feel like you're physically interacting with the Simpsons universe because Homer is Homer, Bart is Bart, Lisa is Lisa, and Marge is Marge. Like, everybody sounds the way they should, looks the way they should, and acts the way you expect them to. And it's also in thanks to the developers simply standing their ground with the one thing that really gives this game its identity: the ability to get out of the car. Now, I agree, on paper, it does sound simple, but in $, it's impressive that Fox was okay with this at all. They had no expectation for the game other than just to copy past a road rage, then just sit back while they awaited their payday. Thankfully, Radical said that, did what they wanted, made some bank, and improved on the formula in the process, and fans of the game should thank them deeply for standing their ground. I do believe Hit and Run would have still served its purpose if the devs didn't bother with the on-foot exploration in the first place, but the fact that you can do it at all makes good levels great and great levels excellent.
Excellent!
While most, if not all, missions are done from within a vehicle, between missions, you have the freedom to explore Springfield as you see fit. And aside from exploring iconic landmarks from the show, you can collect cards which serve their own purpose, as well as coins that are littered throughout the map which give you the ability to purchase vehicles. Some which are required for missions, and others which do nothing but improve gameplay. Both of which offer you incentive to not simply blast through all of the main missions so you can just cross this off your list of games to play. While this is arguably a short game with only 8 levels in total, it offers a gameplay loop that makes it feel like a bigger game than it is. There's a lot to do in terms of exploration, and there's even more things to do once you get in a car and start driving around the map. Run over everyone. But do it too much and you'll initiate a police chase with Chief Wiggum, which is a deterrent until you remember it's Chief Wiggum.
Well, I don't think they're gonna be that easy to lose. These are professional lawmen and...
Oh my God, it just disappeared!
And what makes it so unique is a system that purposefully causes loss of lateral movement whenever your vehicle reaches a certain velocity. To put it simply, Tokyo Drift. This creates a surprisingly high skill ceiling for those that seek it, while remaining simple enough to casually complete the game. And while it's not perfect, it's an incredibly fun and unique experience that has yet to be matched to this day. All of this combines to make one of the best gameplay experiences of all time. Quote me. Choosing whether or not you want to physically own Hit and Run is a relatively easy decision to make. Again, it's not terribly expensive, and it's available on the Xbox, PlayStation, and GameCube. So experiencing the game in its native habitat is incredibly easy to do, and if you're looking to mod it, I've had pleasant experiences all around. If what you're mostly looking to do is collect good retro video games, the one I would personally recommend is the GameCube version, solely because the developers themselves have stated that it is the best version of the game to play because of its optimization. And if you want to hear more about that, MinnMax's video covers so much more. If you're just looking to play the game and experience it the way the developers intended, personally, the version I played and the one you're seeing on screen is the Xbox version, and it's not really different than the others. So really, it just comes down to what you're willing to spend on the game or what your preferred platform is. There's genuinely no physical difference and no incentive outside of the optimization to purchase one over the other. So honestly, the value lies simply within the experience alone. As for me, I can't see why you wouldn't want to add this to your shelf. It's an incredibly influential game, it holds up phenomenally well to this day, and it's just an overall solid gaming experience. I forgot to say it gets quite difficult very quickly. But it is fun. No, fuck that. Hit and Run's impact wouldn't be limited to the borders of a TV screen either. Its game engine was so well built, it would go on to be used in Scarface and Prototype 1 and 2.